Hey everybody, it's Jackie Jing, and I want to talk to you about Doom Patrol Episode 3, Puppet Patrol. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the little notification bell. Ring ring. Thank you very much. Alright, so let's get right into it. I thought that this episode was fantastic. I thought episode 2 dragged a little bit at points, but I was right back into it for episode 3. So let's start off with the backstories, because they really delved into Cyborg's backstory and Negative Man's as well. And this show continues to hit the emotional beats so well. With Cyborg, it's revealed that he's kind of having like this really immature spat with his mom, and then decides to like throw these chemicals aside, throwing a temper tantrum, quite frankly, and that causes that massive explosion which kills her and really, mutilated him, for lack of a better word. And I mean, while I was watching, all I could think is just like how heavy his guilt must be, because I mean, he's young, you know what I mean, and it was immature and stupid, but I'm sure he had no idea it was going to play out the way that he did. And I just can't imagine the mental strength that you would have to be able to deal with something like that. And you see him in the show, checking his, I guess you could say, like, surveillance camera memories in his, not even his brain, like his hard drive, I guess. And I was just like, you can see that he's trying to find some better rationale for it going down that way. But that's the way life is. Like, hard, heavy stuff happens, and sometimes consequences of things are much worse than we anticipated. And that hit me, like, really hard. And I've liked Cyborg, but now seeing that side of him, I really want to see how that plays out, and how he's going to deal with that trauma. Because I mean, all of them have trauma, but I mean, this added a really complex layer to him. So I did like Cyborg's backstory, and then Negative Man had a really interesting backstory as well. We got to see a little bit more of his romance with, I believe, like his mechanic, or like, some sort of crew member on his team, since he's like one of the star pilots. And that was interesting to see, because you could just see he was so hidden about this second life. And I mean, that was a different time. Society was not accepting of that in any way whatsoever. He had a wife and kids, you know what I mean? So you can just imagine what he was dealing with there. But then just how brave his lover was, who was like, hey, I'm leaving, I'm out, like, they don't accept me for who I am. And I thought that was really interesting to see that conflict between them. And then we see what happens to him, and the aftermath, essentially, like what happened while he was like in recovery, and his wife like abandons him when he is most in need. And again, like, this show is just like really hitting me, like it's heart-wrenching, you know what I mean? And it's complex. Like, I'm like, okay, so I can understand why his wife wants to leave. I mean, he's out late drinking all the time. He has a job that's obviously like really time consuming. It doesn't seem like he's making her or his family a priority. And then like something traumatic like this happens, and I mean, maybe it was the straw that broke the camel's back, but man, like, what an awful time to decide to leave. You're just like, oh man. Like, so that's just a huge gut punch. And then just to see how loving his lover was, that like his lover was like, I'm here for you. And like, obviously he was pushing him away and not there, but instead of being like angry at Negative Man's or Larry Trainor's dismissiveness, he was like, hey, I'm here for you. So I thought that the backstories in this episode and how they played out, they did not drag, and they hit me. Like I didn't feel like it missed. So I really enjoyed those parts of episode 3. And Fuchtopia. I mean, come on. So I got some criticism in my last video, because people were like, if you think this is crazy, like, you obviously don't know Doom Patrol. No, like, I know Doom Patrol is crazy, okay? But, I mean, Donkey Patrol was just a little bit too out there for me. Puppet Patrol was like the zaniness and the craziness, but I like loved it. Like I dived right into this like crazy German village puppet show in some remote part of Paraguay. You know what I mean? Like I just was like, this is so off the wall, but like I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I mean, a lot revealed, right? So Chief killed Dr. Van Fuchs. Sounds weird saying that. Fuchs. Anyway, sorry. Okay. But I'm so mature. I don't even know why I just did that. But I was like, whoa, okay. And then, you know, it was really just interesting to see how it all played out. Like the puppet show was super creepy, but like kind of an interesting way to tell this whole backstory. And also, I mean, like we got to see Robot Man and Crazy Jane like kind of go all out, and you're just like, damn, they're powerful, and damn, it's scary how powerful they are. And Crazy Jane, like we got to see one of her personalities who like can make words like tangible weapons, and she ends up killing Dr. Van Fuchs, and you're like, and honestly that was I really liked the way that whole scene played out as well. Kind of like, you know, he says something to her like that she isn't who she is, that like that she should be kind of like grateful to the doctors because they've made her who she is. And again, gut punch. Like I was like, here's this girl who has so many fractured personalities and like is dying to know herself or have something kind of grounding her, and for him to say something like that, like it was just like, ooh, I'm like cringing just thinking about it. And then Robot Man, like he's just trying to learn how to deal with all of these, with everything. I mean, like the loss of his family, this crazy strength. Like, I mean, like he goes, like, you know, if someone's attacking you, like you're, you know, don't use violence, people, don't be violent. But I mean, like he had a violent reaction, but I don't think he knew how strong and crazy he was, and like things just kind of went loose, and he was like literally tearing people apart. So, yeah. Man, I thought it was a really great episode. Also, reveal at the end, it's like Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man, who is literally from the comics. I mean, I knew that Steve was probably gonna turn into something whack, but I mean, like, talk about a villain to choose there. I mean, if you're not familiar with him, he can like turn the different parts of him into like an animal or a mineral or a vegetable. Why you want to turn anything to a vegetable, I don't know. And then he has like the dinosaur head and everything, but so it's crazy because he walks out at the end and I'm like, oh my gosh, he is like a wreck, you know what I mean? Like I'm like waiting for this like emotional reaction, like what's happened to me? And he's like, cool. So I'm just like, all right, the wackiness and zaniness of Doom Patrol continues. So anyways, let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments section below, and love to interact with you guys. So don't just interact with me here. Hit me up on social media as well at Jackie Jing, and don't forget to check out some of my other reviews. I'll put up some like end cards and stuff like that. Anime, manga, movies, TV, all that. All right, have a great Friday, you guys.